Hey, how's it going everybody out there? My name is Jakejames Lugo and welcome to the channel. Now I've been working on a variety of different stuff for the YouTube channel, but while I was doing all that, my brother lent me a copy of Batman Arkham Knight for the Xbox One to play through once again. I've played this before and I love the Arkham series, so I decided, you know what, why don't I just dive into the world of Batman once more? But as I was playing through this, it got me thinking about a few interesting things. Is the Batman Arkham series from Rocksteady some of the best superhero games ever made? What really constitutes them being the best? And I really started churning my thoughts about this because I've played games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I dabbled a little bit with Insomniac's Spider-Man, and a few other games like Marvel vs. Capcom here and there, but those games compared to the Arkham series never really truly spotlighted the essence of a particular character or a comic property in the way that the Batman Arkham series does. One of the coolest aspects about Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight was the fact that you could actually feel like you're being the Batman. All the different aspects about Batman as a character, his almost nearly 80 years of history of all these comics and properties and interpretations kind of get injected into the Arkham series in one fashion or another. You have this ensemble of iconic things that are injected into these games, kind of like the Batmobile from Arkham Knight, all the different rogues galleries and the villains that you come face to face with in all three games, the different types of suits and the iconic looks that Batman has had in all these different comics and movie iterations. All of that is kind of featured in the game, or at least any of the three games, in one fashion or another. And something like that, especially for a Batman fan, is pretty damn cool. But while the Arkham series does stuff like this, other superhero games only really get to the surface level of their properties. For example, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance series really just gets to the surface level of just featuring all these different heroes from the Marvel universe, but you never really get any sort of crazy fan service from them, other than different suits and maybe some of their iconic powers and maybe a few interactions here and there. On the flip side of this, when you go look at the Arkham series, you see different interactions between iconic characters, like some fan favorites, obviously the suits like I mentioned before, but even then you get a lot of nuanced stuff and a lot of nuanced fan service that's even injected into the backgrounds and the environments that you explore. You'll see little Easter eggs from characters like, Calendar Man. You'll see little Easter eggs from Firefly. Maybe you'll get to see a hint of a certain villain in one game, even though they won't really appear, but they'll still make their presence known. Perfect example of this is in the Arkham Asylum game, when you get to see Clayface. Even though you don't see him in his true form, you actually see this random person behind the cell that starts changing their look and starts trying to appeal to you to let them out of this holding cell. And again, it says in one of the little parts around that actual cell that is Clayface. And to me, that's something really cool. It's not necessarily them particularly, again, you're not fighting them in a boss fight or anything, but it's still cool to know that they're still part of that universe. And the Arkham series is really awesome for doing things like that. Again, that's just one example, but you see a whole bunch of different stuff related to that, specifically for Batman as a property. But even then, Rocksteady still goes the extra mile by including other stuff from the DC universe. Another good example of this is from Batman Arkham Knight, where you start to see a lot of different Superman references, including Lex Luthor, LexCorp. There's a bunch of references that the different criminals all over the place are talking about Superman, or at least, worried that Superman might actually show up and do stuff besides Batman. Stuff like that really builds up the world of these games, but really kind of caters to the fan service and really respects the property as a whole, especially as something as iconic as Batman. The only example of this type of handling that I've seen in other superhero games would be the Insomniac Spider-Man series, which kind of follows a similar formula, even though it's applied to Spider-Man and all his different stories and rogues gallery and stuff, but still, that's the closest example that we have to the Batman Arkham series. There's so many other superhero games, both on Marvel and DC side, that don't really handle things in the same way. Now, let me preface this by saying I haven't completed and I haven't fully played through Spider-Man, but from the way that people talk about that game and some of the stuff that I've seen online, including all the different downloadable content and other Easter eggs that people have shared, it's very similar in premise and very similar in approach between Rocksteady and Insomniac with what they do with their own respective heroes. Now, that being said, do we necessarily need every single superhero game to follow that same type of approach? As cool as that might be, we don't necessarily need that. We have games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Marvel vs. Capcom, Justice League Task Force, and stuff like that isn't really necessarily in deep with specific properties, but it is still fun to see all these heroes kind of being featured or interacting and all this different type of stuff, fighting it out. Stuff like that is still pretty cool. You still have to have the shallow end of the spectrum as opposed to the really deep end of the spectrum. You have to have balance like that, I feel like. Even though I acknowledge all of this, I still would love to see certain characters still get that same type of Rocksteady-like treatment with their own properties. I know for a long time the big rumor was that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were going to get the Rocksteady treatment with their own game. Imagine that, playing through a Turtles game where you could kind of, cycle through all four Turtles, but there's all these different Easter eggs from throughout the entire history of the franchise in the comics, in the television show, the movies. That would be really freaking dope. And understand this, everybody else will probably feel the same way with their own favorite superhero. You could say the same thing about Daredevil, you could probably say the same thing about Blade, Superman. I know a lot of people want Rocksteady to do Superman, and a whole bunch of other heroes that are out there, even the Justice League or even the Avengers, which is what we're getting now with Square Enix very soon. But even so, a lot of people probably feel the same way about their own favorite heroes, and it would be great to see something like that, but I also understand we can't always get that same type of treatment for one reason or another. But regardless though, those are just some of my thoughts about superhero games. I still feel like the Batman Arkham series are the best superhero games ever made, even though Spider-Man comes very, very close from what I hear from people, but that's just my opinion about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Tell me, what type of superhero you guys want to see get the Rocksteady treatment? What is your favorite comic book superhero that you want to see in a game given a better type of like handling? You know, let me know about all this stuff in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and go over to my Patreon page and join up with my Patreon. I have a bunch of exclusive content I know you guys are going to love, including podcasts, extra vlogs, you know, other early access to videos, whole bunch of great stuff I know you guys will love. So check it out, links in the description box down below. Anyway, I will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody. Thanks for watching this video, everyone. Make sure you guys check out some of these other videos in the boxes after the credits, and don't forget to visit my Patreon page via the annotations for more exclusive content. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.